So welcome back guys to a whole new episode of 𝘕𝘠𝘵 with a new series introduction. We're still referring to music of course, because I decided to introduce a new series where I'm going to be introducing all different new current gems and discoveries which I've been making in the past few days. Before we're beginning with my treasure list today, I wanted to just insert a very amazing band which I've been discovering yesterday because their outstanding musical creation just urges me to include them in the video directly in the beginning. This special gem, which just has to be shared because I lost my heart to their first debut song immediately, is a song with a very lovely significance concerning the lyrics as well as the vocal expression styles and the general atmosphere of the song. And this special new song is called Angerona, and it has been released on the 17th of October by the band Caput Medusae, whereas the name of the band is referring to Greek mythology and the hat of Medusa. The title of their first song, which has been released just some days ago, is alluding to Roman mythology, especially to the Eponymous Roman goddess of fear, who has a very interesting significance in history because it was never fully traced back where her name actually originated from. Because on one hand, people perceive that it is directly alluding to the topic of fear by the significance of the Latin word anger inside the goddess name. But on the other hand, lots of people also claim that it is directly referring to the common illness angina from which a lot of Romans suffered during the time of the Roman Empire. But apart from this, the goddess is well known for being a statement for relieving people from all their kinds of sorrows and pain. Caput Medusae is a very talented, newly emerged synth pop and dark wave band from Germany, and it does consist of two highly artistic musicians. First of all, we've got Tina Ma, who is mainly responsible for the enchanting backing vocals, which fascinated me when I first listened to the song, as well as she's also responsible for the guitar and bass lines. The other member in this amazing band is called Stefan Scott. He is the main vocalist and also responsible for all stunning keyboard sounds during the sound spheres of the song. The introducing guitar lines of this special track settle us back to this typical 80s cold and icy darkwave underground cave club atmosphere, then go into perfect and very smooth blend with the synth soundscapes, which remind us of the electronically imposing atmosphere of bands such as the Frozen Autumn, but in a very unique and distinctive way. And this is what I personally perceive so intriguing and fascinating about this new band, because the voices of both members have this echoing and haunting and very passionate expression and harmonize in such an impressive way that we as listeners just have to admit that we have been waiting for such a project to emerge. So without further ado, let's rightly begin with the musical enchantment by this amazing new band with their first song. The next band which I love to introduce with a special new album is called, and I hope I don't get anything wrong because it is a Russian band, DHAII. DHAII is a band which is creating their songs mostly in English, and I was impressed right away. I don't even know where I got introduced to this band, possibly via Bandcamp, but I'm not perfectly sure if this was the source where I got the new information about the album. The band DHAII has already existed before the new album was emerged without me noticing it. This terrifies me a bit because their music is very unique. In general, I love the lo-fi sound, which just gives us as listeners the feel of being directly close to the music production and sitting next to the band while they have been recording all their songs. The song Promise urged me to buy it. Actually, right now it is completely free, so don't hesitate, get it and support the band if you have the possibility to do so. This is the album, It is available on Bandcamp only, not available on any kinds of streaming devices. The harshly played guitar lines in the first song Promise get contrasted with the overall soothing and very soft and warm voice of the lead singer, leading us into the memories of forgotten and lost promises, from which we still draw all our hopes and imaginations for the future.
Makes me do my best. I have to go. Rumbling broken dreams and mistakes of best, just like mountain snow.
Another stunning track on this album is called Potemki. Its smooth guitar lines in the beginning increase the tangent, while then the more harshly played guitars get introduced, but the add of vocals then gives us this dark DIY underground 80s post-punk feel. They have released one album previously, without me noticing it, which is called 𝘂𝘦𝘍𝘍, and this was released in August 2016, including the highly emotional and melancholic songs Legend as well as 𝘂𝘦𝘍𝘍. The voice of the main singer of the band, who's called 𝘔𝘦𝘍𝘍, gets then introduced in a purely passionate and dark sense, reminding me of the late works of Ian Curtis, which is a very high statement. Although the music is of course very unique and different to the works of Joy Division. It's a masterpiece on its own, and I would never dare to compare it to any other musical pieces of art which have been created previously, because the band is in fact very unique. They also consider their musical style somehow as black gaze, from which I've never ever heard before. If you did, then please write a comment about it and explain to me what this music genre is about. So next, we're referring to another special band, which I have been long time adoring and appreciating. Their new album called Section is going to be released on the 25th of October. Of course, we're talking about a projection. The Swedish post-punk band has become one of the leading gems in the genre. Their new album, which will be released on the USA-based Metropolis record label, will be joining the great post-punk majesty of the precious former albums Framework and their stunning debut album, Exit, from 2015. The fact that the original singer of the band, as some of you possibly already know, Isak Eriksson, left the band, of course changed their sounds, but also left the great possibility for a new fresh start for the band. The new singer, who has formerly been the bass player of the band, who is called Rikard Tengvall, decided to take over the vocal expression styles on the new album, and I must confess, this has been a mesmerizing step within the band's development and the whole change of their sound. Let's begin with the two pre-release songs. First of all, we've got Something Whole, to which I already lost my blackened existence to. This most emotional song features an outburst accentuated and enforced by the dark vocals of the lead singer. Just as the major destiny of the band, in this specific new album, showing off all different forms and significances of isolation and hopelessness within the huge cities, enforced by the confusion and major despair which is ruling in our society currently. The next officially pre-released song, which is called Lucy Shrine, musically builds up this soundscape-wide place of refuge and shelter. If you take a look at the official Bandcamp page, you have a couple of very amazing options how to order your own copy of the new album section. You can decide from the traditional vinyl copy, of course, which is limited to 300 unique copies. Either you can choose the option with the patch or without one. But of course you can also decide for the CD album, also with both options included. But of course, if you're more the digital music listener, possibly not as confused on travels as I am with my portable CD player, always some huge vinyls in my bags when I'm visiting friends, you can also decide for the download of the official Bandcamp files in a digital way, as well as rely on streaming platforms. Next, I'd love to continue with an Estonian band from which I also have never heard before. I am talking about the Estonian band 𝘊𝘰𝘮𝘪𝘠𝘵. I have got my shipping notification for their new album, which is actually a compilation of a lot of their official studio recordings, but for the reason I am completely new when it comes to this band, I decided to get it also because I love the artwork and I simply favor all of those songs. So this album will possibly arrive soon, and I'm not going into an in-depth review of this album because I will do it when my album arrives, so that I can show you the physical copy as well in my video, just for some short impressions of two of the songs which I highly admire. The first song which I listened to was called Sky, and this got me secretly addicted to the record and urged me to buy it. The song called Sky, or should I rather say Nieba, which is the Russian word for this song, is just realized in such a dreamy way that I have to introduce it in my video. Another song which I secretly adore is called Filled With Your Smell. This also impresses us as listeners with the dark, soothing voice of the lead singer of the band. The lo-fi guitar wave overall sound sphere and sound concept really lulls us into a distant and almost divine sphere of musical creation.
Слепой, как отрада, в вечности плыл по забвению реки. Ты рядом, всезнающий голос библейской воды. Я верен, не отрывая руки от источника жизни, любил, безгранично любил, безгранично любил.
For some official impressions of the album, skip to the Bandcamp page, which is featured on this European record label, on Bandcamp officially of course, and get yourself the album, because there are only a few supporters right now and this album deserves to be sold out in a few seconds because of its majesty. It is in fact strictly limited to 30, exactly 30 hand-numbered copies. Perhaps you can get yourself one of those hand-numbered editions. So hurry up and get the album. For the reason that my appreciation for the record label 𝘊𝘰𝘮𝘪𝘠𝘵 is huge, I decided to include another feature on their record label by the band 11pond. 11pond is one of the rare treasures from the past, which you possibly know if you are addicted to 80s underground music as I am. This New York band has released their first vinyl in 1986, and now the Russian-based label Other Voices Records has unrolled the magic of the songs on a CD copy for the first time. For an official impression of the unique blend of dog-edged post-punk and 80s inspired synthwaves, I'd love to introduce the song Days Hence, which is one of my favorites and has been one of my favorites back then. Another gem which I've been discovering via Bandcamp is the album Spheres by the Eponymous band. It is a Berlin-based band which is a new project between two highly amazing musicians who have been collaborating, and one of those musicians is the amazingly talented half Berlin, half Russian musician Daria Lehre, who some of you possibly know from her former project 𝘰𝘮𝘮, which is a cold wave synth minimal project, which is also linked to the Young and Cold record label. Songs such as Leere Orte, which is the only German song on the album, express a full new dimension of their soundscapes. The musically introduced void and coldness of this song acoustically shows us this very distinctive inner scenery of being stuck between all those abandoned buildings, the inner sense of hopelessness intertwined with our own minds. Skipping from gothic rock, post-punk, cold wave, minimal to the purest form of dark wave with the new release from the ever-enchanting Greek band GALLOWS. Formed in 2016, this duo band from Greece managed to create their own distinctive sound spheres since their debut mini-album Beyond Reflections was first released. But now they have mastered something new, and I'm highly interested in sharing this with you guys. This album not only features a magnificent album cover, which you can see right next to me, but actually also unveils the full artistic project of both musicians. When I first tuned into the first track, Enemies, the deepest and darkest echoing vocals of the singer turned this precious song into a danceable, blackened piece of art, which gets reflected by the guitar lines just as much as the electronically synth soundscapes show us. You can get your official CD album, which I am going to be purchasing also in the next few days, via the band's official Bandcamp page. It gets distributed and pressed and produced by the label Secret Sin Records, which is from the UK originally. For all those of you who stayed until the end, congratulations, because I have a secret treasure, which is not a secret or a hidden one actually, because most of you do know this band and appreciate their music. If October Burns Black releases something new, we as passionate listeners must be aware already before listening that it is going to evolve into something excellent. This is no secret anymore. This is exactly what happens with the song Predator, because not only the great band history of the individual members within the band gets reflected in the song, but they still keep mastering the fine line between standing out from everything that has been created previously with other goth rock bands from the former eras. Skip to Bandcamp now, lose your blackened soul to the first song. Also, I planned this to be the end of the video. I have been discovering another artist. I have been discovering this via Bandcamp on my travel from university back home. It is a Russian post-punk indie new wave kind of release. The song is made by artists which I will with great probability pronounce entirely wrong, so I'm already deeply apologizing for my possible wrong pronunciation. He is called truboprovod, which means pipeline in English. There is no physical release so far, but you can get the album via all different kinds of streaming devices. And this lovely song, which means it wasn't summer in English, what shall I say? It's soothing and very melodically played guitar lines stole my heart right away. Get the precious single via all different streaming devices, share it with all your friends. A full album of this amazing artist would be a dream. So let's get enchanted yourselves by listening to this very soothing and melodic track. And see you in my next video. Have a magically gloomy day as always, and keep on sharing the underground bands.
Свитер задом наперед, майка наизнанку, мысли в разных городах, и собака лежала в ногах. Не было лета, не было лета. Не было лета.